Lakers, Heat. We finally officially know who's going to be in the NBA Finals, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be one hell of a series. I'm so excited, I'm so proud of Miami, and of course the Lakers too. Just both of them making it here to the NBA Finals is a huge accomplishment for both franchises, but there can only be one winner. And today I'm going to go through both teams and try and figure out who has the edge. I know most people are saying the Lakers, and they're heavily favored in all of the betting odds, and just people on Twitter and everyone, they seem to think that this is going to be a really easy series, and I couldn't disagree more. I know that the Lakers have a great team, but you're all just forgetting about everything that Miami has been doing so far, so that's why I think that it will be a 7-game series, but I'm still going to go with the Lakers. I do think that they have the better team, and they're going to get the job done, but it's not going to be easy. So today, I just want to go through that, and let's just get right into it. We've already seen the Heat have a Cinderella story type playoff run. They were able to come out of the East by beating the Pacers, Bucks, and Celtics while only losing 3 games. In my last video, I did predict the Heat in 6 games, and talked a lot about their players and my views on them, so y'all should check that out if you haven't already. But today I'm gonna go and talk about this whole new challenge. I'm someone that's believed strongly in the Heat since this season started, and at this point, they've made it this far, so I truly do believe that anything can happen. Obviously, if they want to win this championship, the Heat are going to have to play good defense. Defense wins championships. That's not a saying, it's a fact. If you want to beat the Lakers, you're going to have to take them out of the paint. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and playoff Rondo, not Rajon Rondo, playoff Rondo, because those are 2 different players, they're going to make it near impossible for the Heat to do this. If the Heat are going to beat the Lakers, which I do think they can do, they're going to have their best games of their life. Game after game after game. Their defense is going to be crucial. You need to play good defense, and the Heat actually do have an incredible defense. So while LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and playoff Rondo are all going to make it incredibly challenging on them, I think the Heat do have a good enough squad to potentially make it interesting. As I mentioned in my last video, Bam Adebayo has Defensive Player of the Year potential. During the regular season, the Heat were the 2nd best team in keeping their opponents off the glass, and he's definitely the biggest reason for that. He only further proved his value in that Celtics series. He came up with that huge block and overall had an insane Game 6 to close them out, and is just clearly proving himself to be one of the best centers and just players in the NBA. He's been helping them, and he might be their most impactful and most valuable player during this playoff run. He's been their anchor, and the Heat are going to have to rely on him to be a stabilizing presence in the paint. I'm going to assume that he's going to be primarily responsible for guarding Anthony Davis, which won't be easy since he can also stretch the floor. Not that Bam can't do it, as if you think about it, he might actually be one of the only people that can slow him down, but it's going to be a challenge for the Heat to protect the rim while also containing the Lakers from 3. Outside of Bam, the Heat still do have tons of great defenders to throw at LA. They've been playing defense as a unit, helping each other out as much as possible. It's not like they're incapable on their own, but when you've got 2 of the smartest and strongest defenders in the league, in Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala, along with Jake Crowder, who's also been a great defender over the years, including his great defense on Giannis in the 2nd round, and of course just the rest of this hungry group of dogs, this team is going to make it tough for the Lakers to score. Everyone on this team wants this championship, and now we're going to see how they respond when all of the spotlight is on them. So far this postseason, they've loved the spotlight. In clutch time, which is the last 5 minutes of the game, in which the score difference is 5 points or fewer, they're plus 46 in these playoffs, which is the best in the NBA. And from everything I know about the Miami culture and their players, they live for these moments. As much as I'd love to say that this team is going to defy all odds and win the championship, I just can't see it happening. For them to win this series, it'll take 4 nearly perfect outings on defense, along with the shooters to get hot and stars to really establish themselves in the upper echelon of this league. I don't think that's impossible, but at the same time, the expectations that LeBron has set for himself do make it impossible for me to confidently pick the Heat. The quick reason why is simple: I'm not picking against LeBron James again. The Lakers clearly have the best 2 players in the series, and that reason alone means that a sweep is not out of the question. It would shock me if the Heat don't win at least 1 game, but at the same time, either one of both of the Lakers' MVP candidates can go off on any given night, making it impossible for the Heat to have a chance. For as good of a defense as Miami has, the Lakers' defense is just as good, if not better. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, JaVale McGee, Danny Green, Talon Horton-Tucker, and even Alex Caruso are all pretty good to great defenders that are going to be giving the Lakers everything they've got on the court. The Lakers have the better defensive rating during these playoffs compared to Miami. They tie in opponent effective field goal percentage. The Heat are better at preventing points off turnovers, but the Lakers edge them in preventing opponent fast break points. So these teams are pretty close defensively. It's not like the Lakers blow them out of the water on any of these stats and vice versa. But I think just in general, they're both great defenses, and it's going to come down to who has the better talent. The Heat are going to have to get real creative with their offense if they want to pull out of this series with a win. They have an offense that constantly moves the ball, and tons of talent all around. Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are two shooters that can go off on any given night. That's not to say that Hero is only a shooter, as I promise even before he went off for 37, I said he was a future All-Star. He can create for himself and others, and has already established himself as one of the league's most lethal shooters. Both of them are still very young. They can shoot from the parking lot, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say, but they're gonna have to give the Heat some quality games this series. Goran Dragic has to keep up his play and be their reliable veteran point guard, giving you 15 to 20 points a night. And as much as I can talk about the rest of this team, the duo of Jimmy Buckets and point center Bam Adebayo are gonna have to be the keys to victory. I'm putting my faith in this Lakers squad to contain the Heat. Frank Vogel has really impressed me as a coach throughout the playoffs, and it seems like nearly every adjustment he makes ends up working. So I'd expect him to have answers to whatever Coach Spo throws at him. We all know how good LeBron James and Anthony Davis are. In these videos, I love to dive into some stats and talk about how great a player is, but there's nothing that I could really say about LeBron James that you haven't heard already. He is potentially the greatest player of all time. In a lot of people's eyes, he's already at that level. Not mine, but even that just says a lot about him as a player. He has basically played at an MVP level since he got here. Right off the bat, in his rookie year, he was 9th in the MVP voting, and he's barely lost anything since that. Everyone knows LeBron James' impact. He is one of the greatest players that this game has ever seen. He is one of the best finishers. He can drive with the best of them. He can shoot. He can shoot from pretty deep now, too. He's expanded his range. He is unstoppable. And when he's on, the Lakers will win their games. And he's been on playoff mode. He's been averaging 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists during these playoffs. He's locked in on defense. He's one of the best defenders in the league when he actually tries. He's a great on-ball defender. He's a great transition defender. He can play some good help defense. He gets transition blocks if he needs them to. He can get steals. He plays the passing lanes. He's a smart player in general, and he knows when he needs to make an impact. And LeBron James, more often than not, does make that impact. He's one of the clutchest players this league has ever seen, and on top of that, he has Anthony Davis. Some people say that LeBron James alone would make them the favorites to at least make it to the finals, and now he has Anthony Davis, who finished 3rd in the MVP voting in 2018, and is really only improved since then. He is also an elite level talent. He has LeBron James and playoff Rondo to get him his shots, and on top of that, he can create for himself a decent amount. It's not like he's awful, but as any big does, he needs someone to kind of create for himself, and he has literally the best person for that. So the Lakers are going to win the championship this year. Anthony Davis can easily win MVP in the next couple of years due to his impact on both ends of the floor. I'm sure you all saw him hit that game-winning 3 as time expired at the end of Game 2. And I think that shot right there says everything you need to say about him. This man is ready for the moment. He's capable of doing whatever is asked of him. He has a respectable 3, as you saw, which allows him to take it when necessary, or dribble by a slower defender due to his agility and skill. He's also able to post up if you're a smaller defender, so it's not like you really have that to fall back on, because he is very capable. He has a lot of post moves. He's very good at shooting post fadeaways in general. Close to the basket, Anthony Davis will get it done. He can catch a lob with the best of them. He can just throw, if you throw it up there. Anthony Davis has the athleticism, he has the agility, he has the coordination to get it done consistently. He has tremendous chemistry with both LeBron James, Rajon Rondo, and just everyone on the team at this point. He's fit in perfectly with what they needed him to do. And while in the NBA Finals, the Heat are going to have pretty good defenders, and in particular Bam Adebayo, I don't think that will be enough when they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Adebayo's not going to be able to defend everyone. Crowder, Iguodala, Jimmy Butler, they're not going to be able to handle everything that the Lakers have, because on top of both LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers have playoff Rondo, and he is legit. The way that he steps his game up is simply phenomenal. His most deadly trait is undoubtedly his playmaking, but don't sleep on his defensive impact either. He's a very pesky and smart defender, able to cause problems for most guards. He's leading the Lakers in steals per game with 1.6, and that's far from his most impressive number. His on-off numbers this playoff run are incredible, with the Lakers' effective field goal percentage jumping from a solid and near league-leading 54% to an absurd 61% when he's on the court. Their assist percentage also jumps by about 11%. They get more steals, more blocks, fewer turnovers, and over 7 points in their offensive rating. Rondo has LeBron, AD, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee to feed in the post. Each of them are some of the best lob finishers in the game at this point. Rondo has improved his jump shot a lot since his Celtic days, and is now at least a capable shooter, and during these playoffs he's looking like one of the best shooters in the league. The Lakers are able to get the shots that they want when he's on the floor, and when you combine him with the bigs just mentioned, opposing teams are in trouble. And on top of him and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, it seems like most people are still sleeping on Dwight Howard. I have no clue why. He hasn't ever really had that bad of a season, and is still a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, who has proved that he's playing some of his best basketball again just this season. Per 36, he's averaged 14 points, 14 rebounds, 2.2 blocks, and a steal during the regular season. Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee are two of the most capable bigs that they can get. They're both very good rim protectors, Dwight in particular, but even JaVale McGee is pretty solid. He's pretty good on the boards, and so is Dwight, obviously. And actually, looking back at Dwight's numbers, he's had a career year. He had the best true shooting percentage of his career at nearly 70%, his second highest offensive rebound percentage at 14.6%, and his third highest block percentage as well. And so he is not washed in the slightest. Dwight Howard is in one of the most incredible shapes of his career. He lost, some people said, like 30, 40 pounds during the offseason. And if you just look at him now, you could tell that although he's a little bit old, he does not look it. And another X factor that the Lakers have is, of course, Kyle Kuzma. He was someone that was averaging almost 20 points a game and somehow got worse in his sophomore season. That typically happens sometimes, but he was even worse during his third year. And again, that's not really that typical, but here we are, and Kuzma's been regressing. But he's still capable of averaging very good numbers. He dropped 41 last year, and he's still been able to drop like over 30 this year as well. So he hasn't been bad, he just has been very inconsistent. But Kyle Kuzma is someone that the Lakers will have to rely on, and hopefully he could give them some sort of legit third scoring option if he's capable of averaging 20 points per game more during a series. And that would be incredible if the Lakers can get something out of him, because we know that he loves to take big shots. And although this playoffs he's only been giving them about 11 points per game, you know that he wants to do more. And Danny Green is another proven veteran who's capable of impacting the game in a variety of different ways. His shooting is what he's best known for, and although at times he's inconsistent, if he does have a good night, the league is in trouble. He's a career 39% shooter during the playoffs, and if Ray Allen didn't hit that three in 2013, we'd probably be referring to him as former Finals MVP Danny Green. He's very capable of showing up big. He is a great shooter. He's got the right idea every time he's playing. He plays hard. He's been playing hard on the offensive glass and the defensive glass, and just he's a great defender in general. He's a great 3-and-D piece and one of the key pieces during Toronto's run last year, and he's back this year as well, just with the Lakers. They have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who has been a Laker for a while now and is shooting 42% from three these playoffs, And of course, like I said, is a solid defender as well. They have Markieff Morris, who's looked better than his brother at times during the playoffs somehow, and has actually been shooting 44% from 3. So the Lakers have had their shooters stepping up. Also, shout out to Talon Horton-Tucker, because although I don't really think he's going to get that much playing time, he was a rookie that I was really high on going into the draft. I have no idea how he fell so far to the Lakers in the second round, but he is someone that I think one day can at least be a very average role player, if not more. He has an incredible wingspan, is a pretty capable shooter, and honestly, he looks perfect for the NBA. He could be one of the best defenders in the league one day. He looks like he's ready, and he's on the perfect team right now to learn. So Talon Horton-Tucker, in a couple years, y'all better watch out. You heard it here first. He's going to be good. J.R. Smith can show up any night and give them a couple of threes to really give them a boost if they need it. They've got Dion Waiters, who is another pretty good player that can give them like 15 plus points on any given night. He can create for himself a little bit too, so if the Lakers need some help, they do have some decent depth. And finally, last but not least, definitely just want to talk about Alex Caruso, because he legit went from being a meme to an impact NBA player. And although he's not great, he's fun to watch. And when you watch him play, and we've always been able to see this, but it's just gotten even better as his career has progressed, he just plays with such heart. He has a very high motor, he gives it all on both ends of the floor, and has just been able to step up if they need him to. He's made big plays, he's hit big shots, and Alex Caruso is someone that you're going to want if you're an NBA franchise. He gives you energy, especially coming off the bench. He's an explosive athlete. He's had some insane dunks during his career, and we love watching Alex Caruso. There's a reason for that. The way that they've been playing, this whole team wants this championship, and they're going to get it done. Well, that's going to be all for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know with a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below telling me what you think. And of course, be one of the first to support me in this journey on YouTube by subscribing and sticking with me. I'm going to be uploading pretty regularly. I know it's not going to be the most regularly. I am a college student, but I'm going to try to do it at least twice a week going forward now that I actually have a 2K capture card. So that'll be great. And yeah, stick with me. See ya. Have a great life.